Today we're chatting with Ashley about her experience with dyslexia for Global Accessibility Awareness Day, or GAD. Could you please introduce yourself and tell us one thing you're doing at the moment? Ashley is being interviewed online. She is sitting at her desk at home.
So my name's Ashley. In terms of an interesting an interesting little tidbit, that's maybe at the moment I'm trying to learn French. It's not going very well, but I'm trying.
Are there any common misconceptions you come across about dyslexia?
One of the main things I think about is there is a spectrum within dyslexia. Not every dyslexic person is going to have the same presentation, or have their learning disability, learning difficulty look the same. So I think one thing that might work for one dyslexic person won't for another, or one element, say in terms of accessibility, one might struggle with and another might not. Dyslexia does not just have sort of one form.
Do you use any technology to help you access digital content?
The first sort of thing that's my go-to is text to speech. I use that every single day. I use dictation extensions as well. So instead of just manually writing things, I'll dictate to a program or a website, that sort of thing. I also use a font changer. So there's this font UDF, which is more what they've said is like dyslexic friendly. It also has like a tint overlay. So certain elements of that are tinted to make it easier to read. And probably the next biggest thing I use is spell check. All day, every day. I use that for literally everything I write, even just in terms of searching things in the search bar. I'll have it spell checked. Without them, I essentially can't function online. I'd have a hard time reading, consuming, writing without them. Like they're an integral part of my experience just in my life, and particularly accessing programs and websites online.
Are there any common barriers you face when accessing digital content?
I guess the main thing is readability. Like I really struggle with massive amounts of text, or if sometimes I have websites which aren't compatible with the extensions I use and that sort of stuff. So I'm just stuck with the chunks of text that I'm just not really able to read. That's probably my biggest issue.
Do you have an example of a positive online experience?
And that sort of just popped into my mind was within the past few weeks, I was sort of going through some archival old newspapers, and I noted that they had recorded audio for each one. So someone had sort of read it out for each article, even though some were dated, the 80s, the 90s, predating when it would have been expected to have that format. And obviously this company had then gone back and decided to make it as accessible as possible, which made researching 10 times easier.
Do you have an example of a negative online experience?
I obviously won't say which specific company, but I had an insurance provider I was researching. And I got to a part on the website which I sort of needed to know. It was an element that was important to sort of understand. But there was so much text and it was so disjointed in terms of the way it was organized. I couldn't read it. I looked at it and I was so overwhelmed that I sort of had to step away. And even with sort of text to speech, it just wasn't compatible enough to make it easy for the program to do it or for me to sort of comprehend what it was saying. I had to, even as an adult, call my mum and say, I really don't understand what this is saying. Can you please paraphrase it for me? Which is sort of one of the only times I've ever had to do that. My mentality was, if it's not accessible enough in this element, other elements aren't going to be accessible once I'm with them. So I pretty much went, no, this is my provider, and went elsewhere.
If you had a magic wand, what would be one thing you would want to change to make everyday life more accessible?
More inbuilt text to speech programs. So actual websites, recording someone reading the text they put up, it makes my life so much easier.
Why do you think it is important to raise awareness about accessibility?
Having a day in which we can all draw attention to, have a chat about accessibility, I think is really essential to sort of make things as accessible we can for as wide a range of the population as possible. I don't know a lot of what is accessible to other people, what is inaccessible to other people. So the concept of sort of going outside our own little bubble of our sort of comfort level of accessibility and finding out what's their struggles, what they enjoy, that sort of thing, I think it's so important.
If you could give one piece of advice to organisations, what would it be?
One piece of advice, I think it would be to research widely. Not everyone, first of all, there's so many different presentations of disability across the board. There's so many different types of disability, there's so many different ways it presents in people. Having a sample group of one or two isn't enough. It's about seeking out organisations that represent specific people with disabilities, or having a wide range, like interviewing and working with people with a wide range of disabilities.
For this year's GAD, let's get talking, thinking and learning about accessibility and inclusion and the more than 1 billion people with disabilities. This video was produced by Vision Australia's Digital Access Consulting team. Music by bensound.com. If you would like help conducting inclusive research for your product or service, you can contact Digital Access Consulting at digitalaccess@visionaustralia.org.